So then guys, in front of me are the two most popular type of MacBooks that are sold right now. The baseline MacBook Air and the baseline MacBook Pro. These devices are both incredible. But now we have the new M4 inside of the MacBook Pro. What is the key difference between this and the MacBook Air with the M3? And especially that now the M3 MacBook Air has been upgraded to 16 gigabytes of RAM. What kind of differences are we going to be getting if you spend, say, an extra sort of $500 more for the M4 MacBook Pro over the M3 MacBook Air? Well, today we're going to do a comparison review here. We're going to do a versus review, whatever you want to call it, to see what the differences are between both these models. And first of all, let's talk about the design of both of these. Now, one thing I'm definitely going to say, there's nothing like getting yourself a brand new MacBook. When you get it for the first time in your hands, it feels absolutely amazing. But both of these feel very different to use. So for example, the MacBook Air is all designed about being light and lightweight, whereas the MacBook Pro is designed to be lightweight, but also more of a powerhouse. Straight away, you'll notice that obviously the thickness of the MacBook Air is definitely thinner than the MacBook Pro, and this has been in its design language from the very start. And if you want to know what the difference is in weight, well, the MacBook Air 13-inch model that we have here weighs 1.24 kilograms, whereas the M4 MacBook Pro, well, that weighs 1.55 kilograms. So it is a bit more heavier, definitely, for having an M4 MacBook Pro over the M3 MacBook Air. But the other differences that you'll notice straight away is the actual screen size. So the actual MacBook Air comes in at a 13.6-inch display, whereas the MacBook Pro has a 14.2-inch display. We also have more colors available for the MacBook Air, and to be deadly honest, I actually prefer the colors of the MacBook Air to the MacBook Pro, because this includes like the starlight color, the midnight color that I've got right here, and of course you've also got the silver color too, and the good old space gray. Whereas with the MacBook Pro, well, you do have the gorgeous new space black color like we've got right here, but you've only got the other choice of silver, so only two colors for the Pro options. But what I would also say what is different is the ports on these. And I'll go into more details about how the ports work in a second, but just look at the difference that we've got here. On the MacBook Air, we have got the MagSafe 3 port, but we've only got two USB-C ports on the side, and I'll talk more about those a little bit later on. Whereas on the MacBook Pro, we've actually got three USB-C ports, and then we've also got an SD card slot, we've also got a HDMI port, and then of course we've also got a 3.5 jack too. Also, I did just forget that the MacBook Air also has this port. But the other key differences are to do with the speakers, for example. The MacBook Pro has its speakers facing upwards, and you can see the grill holes for these, and this is a 6-speaker setup with woofers and everything like that. Whereas the MacBook Air, well, that has its speakers just here in the gap between the actual sort of screen here and also the front sort of hinge, and there's only 4 speakers inside of that. And obviously, if you played the sound between both of these, the MacBook Pro is definitely clearer in its sound. Now, the biggest change to me, what I see between both of these MacBooks, and especially with the M4, and you might be even able to see it right here, is the brightness and the actual display technology, what you're getting on the MacBook Pro compared to the MacBook Air. I'll start with the MacBook Air first of all. So the MacBook Air has a Retina LED display, and this got first introduced back in, say, 2012 with the MacBook Pros way back then, and this was really, really great stuff to see at the time, but that technology has just been passed down to the MacBook Air in about 2018 or so, and it really hasn't changed a lot since then. You've also only got still 60 Hertz on this display, and it does a really, really great job for what it is. But if you do want the best of the best out there, obviously the mini LED display, what's inside of the MacBook Pro, is absolutely incredible. Especially with the M4 lineup this year, you actually get 1,000 nits of SDR. So this is the standard brightness on the MacBook Pro. Not even though the XDR kind of brightness will go up to 1,600, it's 1,000 nits, and you can definitely tell the difference that you're getting a far brighter display with the M4 MacBook Pro. The MacBook Pro also introduced a new nano texture sort of screen, what you can actually apply onto it, the display there. Obviously, I'm not talking about that today because we're talking about the baseline versions of this, but that is a nice option that is available, and obviously that will help when you're outside to stop sort of light sort of bouncing off the screen. That's really, really going to be useful to have in the future. But overall, both of the MacBooks feel solid as really great quality aluminium or aluminum, whatever you want to call it, and they're really great designs. Even today, even though the MacBook Air is ready on its sort of second generation of this, and we're like on the fourth generation of the MacBook Pro. Obviously, I'm looking forward to OLED display coming out in 2026 or something like that with the next design. But I think you can see straight away that obviously the MacBook Pro obviously wins here with that, but obviously you're getting that extra weight, you're getting a bulkier design, whereas the MacBook Air cuts back on that and is also saving you costs. The other differences then obviously is to do with the performance between both of these models. One has M4 at the time of making this video, one has M3. What are the differences that you're going to notice in performance wise? Personally, if you're buying the MacBook Air for just doing everyday sort of tasks like checking out your emails, sort of doing Word documents, going to university, going to college, going to school, or even just at home, just fiddling around on the internet, printing up a few documents, this is more than enough of a device to have. But obviously, if you are a bit of an amateur sort of pro sort of person out there, maybe at university or college, you are doing a bit beyond than kind of just writing notes all the time. Maybe you are doing a little bit of coding out there, a bit of 3D development, touching into these areas. This is where I'd say the MacBook Pro definitely comes in hand with the M4, especially with the fan that we'll talk about a little bit later on. But just to show you here in benchmark sort of scores, you can see that the M3 in single core score is obviously getting 3061, whereas the M4 gets 3864, when then in multi-core performance we're getting 11566 versus 15288. We're talking around about a 20-25% increase in M4 kind of performance over the M3, but what I want to make the point clear is again, is that really you'd have to be utilizing the MacBook Pro with the M4 to actually fully use that compared to the M3 MacBook Air. Again, looking at this chart again, we've still got the M1 with the 8-core setup back then. And I have loads of you guys here in the comments saying that you've got an M1 MacBook Air and it's still great today with only 8GB of RAM inside. It's still really quick and it does just the job absolutely fine. And I think this is the point I want to get at, that don't feel that you have to get yourself a MacBook Pro M4 because it's got a Pro name and it's the best out there. Obviously, it's the best of the cheapest of the M4 sort of MacBook Pro family. The MacBook Air is more than enough for most people out there, especially like I said that a lot of people still own the M1 series and still think that is great today, because it really is amazing. Now, one other thing I did touch upon was the RAM, and that is that the MacBook Airs also got updated to a baseline of 16GB of RAM inside of them when we got the introduction of the M4 MacBook Pros, and this is really great to see that this is available. The other good news is that if you do shop around, even for an M2 or an M3 MacBook Air with 8GB of RAM inside of it, and in fact I made a video about that recently comparing the difference and the reasons why that some of you guys with 8GB is still going to be fine, then I would actually say that if you can get a great deal on this, this is definitely worth looking into, because obviously like I said, even with 8GB of RAM for quite a lot of people out there, this is going to be fine for you inside of a MacBook Air and you can get some great deals out there. And saying that, well, a lot of you guys are probably thinking, as much as you're showing here, Matt, the M4 MacBook Pro, why don't I just wait to get, say, the M4 MacBook Air when that comes out, say, springtime next year? Well, that is a very valid point. And this thing brings us back to one of the main key points of the MacBook Pro. It's got the fan inside of it. This MacBook is designed for things to be thrown at it. This is designed for multitasking. This can do multitasking too, but this can do sort of more pro apps multitasking and not begin to throttle, because it's got the fan inside of it. It can keep it nice and cool, and this is what this is designed for. The MacBook Air is great too, that it's a complete silent design. So again, if you are just a person sitting at home watching TV and you don't hear like a whirring noise in the background, this is great for you too, because obviously you just don't need that fan inside of it. And Apple have developed this device for that reason. It's great to actually have that with no fan inside of it, whereas the MacBook Pro, if you are going to be pushing it to its limits quite often, well, then guess what? That fan inside it's going to keep everything nice and cool. What is great news to hear that Apple put this inside of the Pro machines and that the Air doesn't have the fan and you have that option too. So next of all then, what about the actual charging and also the battery life in both of these devices? Well, as you can imagine, the MacBook Pro is a thicker design, so it does have a larger battery inside it, and also the M4 is a little bit more efficient than the M3 right now. So the M3 MacBook Air can actually get a battery up to 18 hours inside of it. That's what you can do if you were just sort of watching some content locally or even streaming or things like this. You can go up to 18 hours without pushing it too much. Whereas the MacBook Pro, if you did sort of similar sort of tasks, you can actually get up to 24 hours. I personally believe when the M4 comes inside the MacBook Air, this will go up probably by about another 2 hours again. I think you'll probably be able to get, say, 20 hours out of it. But right now, as it stands, it's 18 hours versus 24 hours. And obviously, I'm going to say this, is that obviously 24 is better. But personally, for full day's usage, both of these MacBooks are going to be absolutely fine. If you're going to college for the day, full lessons for the day, you probably won't need to charge these up if you're just taking notes on these. You know, you're not going to really need to utilize all of that battery. Obviously, if you're using pro apps and things like this and pushing things around, then yeah, it's going to start using up the battery a little bit more. But for general kind of tasks, checking your emails, like I said, taking lecture notes and things like this, then even the MacBook Air is easily going to get you through the day. For charging, both of these MacBooks have the MagSafe 3 charger, and they do great at that. And the MacBook Air can do fast charging if you plugged in, say, a 70-watt charger, and obviously you'd have to plug in a 96-watt charger into the M4 MacBook Pro to get that ability too. But overall, I'd say battery life is really, really great, easily getting you through a day on both of these devices. And whilst we're still looking at the side here, let's talk about the ports then on these MacBooks. So as I mentioned earlier, you only get two USB-C ports on the MacBook Air, but these are Thunderbolt 4 ports. And also with the M4 MacBook Pro, just the M4 model, these also have Thunderbolt 4 ports. You get Thunderbolt 5 if you go for the M4 Pro or the M4 Max. But the great thing is that obviously with both of these devices, you can actually plug in multiple monitors into them, into these ports. So with the MacBook Air, the two USB-C ports at the side, if you actually shut down the lid, you can actually control two monitors with this. Whereas with the M4 MacBook Pro, you do have the HDMI port, and you can also plug in another monitor into the USB-C port if it allows you to do that. And the great thing is that you can actually keep the screen open and drive those two monitors at the same time, whereas with the MacBook Air, you'd have to close the lid down and use those two other devices. You have to kind of convert your MacBook Air into kind of a desktop there. So that is definitely a key advantage. And then obviously then you still got another two USB-C ports available if you did that. So this definitely frees it up. Whereas with the MacBook Air, you know, the second you plug in those sort of two screens, that's it, it's gone, as it were. All your ports and things have disappeared, as it were, unless you've got some sort of hub or something like that, but that's a story for another day. The other thing as well is the MacBook Pro has an SD card slot, and this is really, really great if you're especially pushing things from, say, your cameras or camcorders or whatever, and then you wanted to bring this over to your Mac, then obviously this is really, really great to see. And obviously the MacBook Air doesn't feature this, and it's a good reason too, personally, because I don't think this device, even though it can do it, is not designed for those kind of pro apps and photography. Apple wanting you to buy one of these instead. So this kind of does make sense from Apple's point of view. And I know there are going to be people out there go, I'd love to have, you know, an SD card slot on, say, a MacBook Air, especially they offered it in the past, but I can see why Apple have reason to take it away and why we only have it on the Pro models. But then moving along then to storage options. The MacBook Air starts out with 256 gigabytes of storage as the base amount, and I personally would say this is where the kind of main downer is to the MacBook Air from my point of view. 256 gigabytes of storage is not a lot. Now obviously you could say, well, just whack in, say, an external drive or something like this, but that's the point. There's only two ports on this. You're starting to use those ports up just because you have to have an external hard drive on this. Obviously you could use cloud storage, but that's going to cost you too. But I think this is now probably the area where people are going to moan out. You know, we finally got our 16 gigabytes of RAM, but I think the next step is obviously getting higher storage. I think, you know, this should start at least 512 gigabytes now, and then obviously the MacBook Pros, well, they start out with the M4 with 512 gigabytes, and I think this should start out now with 1 terabyte. Now, obviously, as you can see right here, you can actually scale this up to go up to 2 terabytes on either of these models, but that will cost you a lot of money to do that. It's one of the downers where Apple kind of do that, is that obviously the more RAM and more storage you put into this, they cost you like $200 more each time you do an upgrade, each tier, which is absolutely crazy, or at least $200. So yeah, that is probably the only one sort of downer that I'm going to say here. And then it's the same for RAMs. It's great to see that both these devices have 16 gigabytes of RAM as the base amount, and then you can pick 24 gigabytes if you want to do that. But then you can also pick 32 gigabytes of RAM with the M4 MacBook Pro, what is really great to see. And maybe the MacBook Air with the M4, you might be able to get that choice too. Who knows? So we'll have to wait and see on that one. Now, next of all is macOS or macOS 15 Sequoia, and these work absolutely fine with this. No slowdown. If I boot both these up, they take about the same amount of time to boot up. And obviously we got all those Apple Intelligence goodies on these, and they work absolutely fine. There's no kind of pressure or anything like that on it. I know that Apple is saying that obviously they want to have devices with at least 8 gigabytes of RAM inside of them for Apple Intelligence, but really, even using Apple Intelligence, I've not really noticed any sort of differences with either of these devices with the tools that we've got available right now. And I think the same for the future. For the time being, we're not really going to see any problems there. Both run macOS 15, like I said, and they're going to both run for many years to come. Probably at least another 6 years of updates and probably 7 years of updates here. But you know, if you go and buy one now, that's going to be ages away that we're going to get those updates for. So that's really, really great to see. But the final verdict, what I'm going to say is, and the value, is obviously the MacBook Air starts at $1,099 US, and I predict even with Black Friday around the corner, this is going to go for less than that. Even with educational use, you can get this for less than that right now, and I think this is going to go down even more. And especially, like I said, you can pick up the M2 or the M3 MacBook Air with 8 gigabytes for even less now for crazy money. And you know, this is the thing about it, is that this is a really, really great deal, and especially that, you know, some of those great deals there with the 8 gigabyte ones, you could actually potentially buy 2 of these for the price of 1 of these. So you know, that is a whole lot of a machine what you are getting there. The Pro is literally designed to be for the pro. So you know, if I was a university student right now and I'm just going to lectures, and let's say I'm studying something, I don't know, like law or something like this, something, I don't know, business related, nothing really what's going to be full graphical, technical, anything like that, I'd be picking myself one of these. If you're a person who you're going off to university or college, and let's say you're doing something like media, or let's say you're doing some programming or coding or something like this, you get the idea, or doing photography or video editing and just want to get into it and stuff like this, well then this device here is definitely more up your street to get one of these for your studies. And I think that kind of gives the rough idea there in what kind of person that you might be too and which one to go for. As much as saying you've got a pro device sounds really, really awesome, is it really worth spending that extra money just because you want that name? Or do you actually really need a MacBook Air instead? Well, I personally say it depends on your needs. And with that though, guys, I'd love to know what your needs are, and also which one would you pick? What's best for you? Let me know in the comments below. And with that as well, guys, it's time to wrap up this video. So if you have enjoyed watching it, please do press the like button. Also, if you want to hear the latest Apple news, reviews and comparisons like we've done today, make sure you subscribe to the channel and also hit that notification bell. Until next time, guys, I'll see you really soon. Take care. Bye bye.